is it all just Mexican listeners?
I'm sure not.
Yeah.
It's in
Oh,
English.
oh, right. Okay. Well, I hope you listen. I hope you listen. Sorry, I'm so awkward, but thank you so much for having us, and I really hope that you enjoy our upcoming album that will be released soon in on 24th of November. Um,
24. Okay, I was
yeah,
wrong. I was thinking it was the 17th of November.
17th. Yeah, I saw in the review that review. I
Uh,
said, why does he keep saying 17th? It's
Sorry for that.
24th.
Sorry for that.
It's
Now
all right. It's all
I stand corrected. Hello, Helga. Hello, Kai. Thank you for joining me today. How are you?
Very good, thanks, and thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
I invited you here today to discuss your upcoming album. I see that is your debut album as a band and also with Season of Mist, which is a huge deal, I would say, for a new band to be here with a big label, important label. So I would like to discuss all about the music, all about the intention behind. But before we get into that part of the conversation, what I usually do, or what I tend to do, is to focus on the story of the artist itself and learn about your musical upbringing and what made you, to eventually steer your creative energy into heavy or extreme music.
I would say the church. Yeah,
Okay.
so yeah, my family would always go to church every Sunday, and so I think that's one of my first memories as a child. Just joining the choir and listening to church music and hymns and stuff like that. But also the radio, I think,
Okay.
because my mom would listen to a lot of radio music. So I suppose that's where I got my pop sensibilities.
Mm,
So, from the radio. I
I
think that's
see
it.
now.
Yeah, for me, I mean, I've I come from a family of music fans. I've always been surrounded by music, um, and yeah, I've been sort of itching to sort of like kind of create my own music from a very young age. So it's just been always an ever-present part of my life.
And what kind of artist do you remember being your first influence or your first kind of discovery, conscious discovery?
I probably didn't think of it that way as a child.
Okay.
I just thought, oh, this is a great song. I'll dance to it. I'll sing to it, stuff like that. So whatever I heard that was catchy enough, I would listen to, but I didn't pay attention to who's this artist, stuff like that. I didn't care.
I mean, perhaps for me, the most influential band growing up, for me was My Chemical Romance. They
Oh,
remain to this day one of my all-time favorite bands, and yeah, they had a huge impact on me growing up as a young person, and probably were one of the reasons I was drawn to, um, yeah, I love those guys, and yeah, definitely seeing them at a young age was a big influence on me.
Yeah, so I think my first influence would probably be my mom because my mom played the guitar and she would sing a lot as well. So she would sing in the church as well and play the guitar, but she would also do that at home. So I thought, wow, that looks like a lot of fun. Why can't I do that? Like I'm so jealous right now. Like why, why is she singing all these really cool songs and not me? So I thought, oh, So one day I asked her if I could get a guitar for my birthday, and yeah, I got it, an acoustic guitar, and I think that's where it all started. I started listening to rock bands as well at the time. So yeah,
It was out of
I
curiosity first.
yeah.
And uh, for me, writing music just came naturally from. No, I was inspired by a lot of bands growing up, all of them mostly guitar heavy bands. And as soon as I started learning, I was inspired to be a lot, I wanted to be like those guys. And so I picked up a guitar. And then naturally, once you start learning the basics on guitar, it's hard not to find yourself writing your own tunes. So I think that's how I stumbled into it at a young age. But then since then, it's just been, the truest form of expression that I have. It's the tool I come back to time and time again. If there's something I just need to get out, it's always music.
I'm also sensing that there is an interesting story there behind you two coming together to start a band, and also the choosing of style or finding your sound. I hear the music as Helga put out before, and it makes sense. It's a connection there to what the album is now, the music you are guys making. But well, let's get to a starting point of Helga as a band. How did you guys meet, and what kind of conversation was there as a goal for start making music?
You want to take this, Helga, or I can talk? What do you want to know?
You can do it.
Yeah, sure. So Helga, as you know, Alfonso, um, Helga started out as a solo project, and it wasn't until she moved from Sweden to the UK that she wanted to just put a band together, and it was actually a longtime friend and musical collaborator of mine, Cameron, who saw an ad Helga had posted online looking to start a band. He got into he started speaking with Helga. In the process of all that, from chatting with Cameron, I heard some of Helga's previous music. I'm sure you can understand, Alfonso. I was blown away by this, what I was hearing, and I had to be involved in some way. And yeah, I perhaps quite forcefully introduced myself to Helga, and the rest is history, really. We kind of hit it off pretty quickly, Helga?
To say something like, "It has to be me. It has to be
Yeah,
us."
yeah, pretty much. Helga, like, do you remember
Yeah.
something I said in the
Yeah.
beginning? It was like,
Yeah, yeah.
it was
Yeah, you said something like, I was born to join your band, something like
I was being
that.
very melodramatic, but I was just,
Yeah,
I just felt like this had to happen.
Well, yeah, and what kind of music you were hoping to create, Helga, before, or do you have these songs already written?
um, what kind of music I wanted to create? I think I wasn't really thinking that way. I think I just created what felt right at the time, and at the time I was writing these new songs. You know, some of them uh I wrote before meeting Kai and Cameron, and
Okay.
some of them were written right after I met the guys. But I think it's mostly because at the time I was listening to a lot of rock and metal already, especially metal, like prog metal, especially Opeth stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, that really introduced me to the whole proggy sort of type of music, and it really kind of it was intellectually satisfying for me. Like I was like, what's going on here? Like, I've never heard something like this before. I've never heard anything like this before. I want to try do something like this, but not really. You know, I don't want to be like the next Opeth or anything.
Right,
But
right.
anyway, yeah, of course. So yeah, I think, yeah, I thought, and of course, the music itself is sort of heavily inspired by nature as well.
Mm,
So I really want to incorporate these things, nature, the beauty of languages, as you can hear, English and Swedish, and some other stuff in there. But also just the heaviness and darkness
okay.
that we find in music as well. And also the very beautiful atmospheric sounds that Kai and Cameron, they're like experts, they're really good at this. Because coming from a post-rock band like them, it's just it blows my mind away. I'm so lucky to
Oh,
have
so
you.
you Kai have like a post-rock background?
Yeah, so three members of this band, myself, Cameron, and Ryan, who Cameron plays guitar also, Ryan is the bass player. The three of us have played together in bands for years. We've known each other since we were teenagers. And the last band we were in together was a band called People as Places as People. It was a real sort of passion project of mine, sort of a post-rock kind of project. And it was actually a record I used to sort of sell myself to Helga when I met her, actually. I was like, hey, if you like what's on here, we can do something akin to this if you want to work together. And I think that sealed the deal for me.
Okay, well, here's the thing. I was trying to come up with some questions, which I usually do before the interview. But as I start listening to the album again, I was just blown away. I find this so unique, in my own terms, of course. And I was like, okay, I won't prepare any questions. I will just go with the flow and try to discover as much as I can about this band and the intention. It's interesting that you have a post rock background because again the music is so unique between styles, but not in terms of now we're gonna sound like this and now we're gonna sound like that. It's just so natural, the flow of it. And it's also interesting that Helga mentions the nature of it, because I don't know if you guys believe in the color of sound, but it's some greenish quality to this music. Maybe I'm preconditioned by the cover, what you guys have put out, the music video and all. I guess what I'm trying to say first is that I'm just blown away by the music and what kind of process did you guys went through to kind of feel comfortable with you guys were doing when you first starting to play together?
Mm.
Kai is busy.
Oh, Kai's busy. So what did I? Oh, sorry, I lost you there. Can you repeat it again? Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, like I mentioned, the album it's big in scope, it's ambitious, but
Yeah.
it also can be appreciated in simple terms,
Yeah.
just the feeling, the emotion behind. So it
Yeah.
kind of functions in two levels, I will say. When you pay attention and find all the nuances, but also just for a companionship or your day, your mood. And so the complexity of this music, you know, but also the delivery of it in simple terms. Is this natural at all, or it has to be some kind of process there?
I think it's a mixture of both, I would say. So, there's some things I suppose it's not just me, but I think a lot of creators um feel the same about this. We sort of just go with the flow at times, but then uh the more we move further and build up the songs, the music, the more we kind of think more critically and
Hmm.
like, oh, is this supposed to be here or stuff like this? Is this vocals really good for this and stuff like that? But I think, for me at least, personally, the best way is to just feel it, does it feel
Mm.
right for this, like, even if I'm also very critical in a way, and I would really sit down and think, is this chord really the best chord for this chord progression? Is this good? How is it going to be the rhythm here? The lead guitars, is it supposed to be some sort of post rocky bit here? Maybe
Okay.
not. Let's make it a bit more black metal, stuff like that, But other than that, I think, uh, sorry, I'm not very clear with my answers.
Hey, Alfonso, sorry about that. So I'm back with you guys now. So I remember first of all, just thank you very much for the complimentary words. I'm so glad you're enjoying the record. Second of all, the greenish thing, yeah, I see it as greenish. I see it as bluish. I totally get the whole color of the music thing. What hit me with that question again? What was the initial question about how we come together to make the music, or what was that
Well,
again? Sorry, Alfonso.
okay. Let's go back with the post rock thing and the prog like circumstances Helga was involved. I guess that was yours, just pure consequential of
Yeah.
the style. The
Mhm.
thing with post rock, it tends to be a little bit formulaic.
Mhm.
It kind of limits itself and puts the sound in a box. But with
Mhm.
this band, the post rock elements are just free, let's say, just breathes in terms of, well, what could be described as post rock. So let me ask you, how would you say you interact with post rock elements as you know them in this band?
Yeah, no, I absolutely hear what you say about the formulaic nature of post rock. I think when joining this band, I was never looking to. I wasn't looking to join another post rock band, but I could hear already in the music that Helga had released on her own that post rock was definitely an influence of hers, and that and she had a way of weaving this sound into otherwise completely kind of unique compositions. And I found this inspiring, and I used it as a template, honestly, when working with her. And there are certain moments there were certain moments in these demos that I guess the post rock part of me was drawn to, and I'd make a note like, okay, for this section here, for example, the single we just released, "Burden," that was the first record. That was the first song Helga wrote for this record. Back then, we thought we
Okay.
were writing an EP.
Never thought I would end up here, full of lights down and faces. But my heart is in the words I belong. It's a big one, a big one, a big one, a big one. It's a big one, a big
We didn't think we were writing an album at that time. But anyway, I remember hearing that demo for the first time, and when it got to that kind of crescendo section, I just knew I had to sprinkle some kind of tremolo pick melody or something over that. It spoke to those kind of post rock sensibilities of mine, and it's that really. I think I was always drawn to the beauty of post rock, but then Helga writes in such a beautiful melodic way that evokes that even when it's not present sometimes, and so. As I say, I was never looking to sort of join another post rock band, but I am certainly influenced in those kind of directions with some of the kind of sections and melodies that Helga comes up with.
Okay, I would like to talk briefly about the track list, the singles you guys have put out. But before, let me ask you about the singing with Season of Music record. How did this happen? I mean, it's huge, I will say. Again, did you guys approach the label, or uh, how did it happen? Sorry.
Do you want to take this, Helga?
You can do it.
Okay, all right, cool. So Helga actually reached out to us. So Season of Mist is a record label that all of us have been fans of for years. Helga especially, actually, she sent a demo, like I
Okay.
guess kind of a primitive demo to the label back in 2016, I think it was late 2016. So before any of us guys knew her, she
Mm.
never heard anything back. But it wasn't until after we'd met and we'd established Helga as a band, that it kind of happened this way, Alfonso. Basically, I'd had my eyes on Doomstar Booking, a European-based booking agency. I wanted I knew Helga had brilliant music. I just wanted more people to hear it, and I thought a booking agency would be the perfect way to go about it. So we reached out to Doomstar Booking, and it just so happened that Michael, who owns Season of Mist, also owns a chunk of Doomstar Booking. So I think after talk of the band started circulating around the offices of Doomstar, I think Michael was reminded of Helga as a project. I believe he told us he'd seen some of Helga's previous singles, like Merca. If you've seen the music video for Merca, I think he had seen that in the past and things like that. And so he was essentially reminded of us once that kind of, I guess, the Doomstar office was chatting about us, and so the rest of that was history, really. Once Doomstar had expressed interest, Michael too reached out to us, and that was quite a good day, wasn't it, Helga? We were quite happy with that.
Yep.
Yeah, that was.
Well, I want to say this. Helga as a band is just one of the late discoveries of the years. It has the potential to be, a revelation for the label and for, music enthusiasts around the globe. I know this is my case, and I know since I hear the single Skogen Mumlar, I was just enchanted. I don't know if that's the right word for it. So I guess the experience in the album is just functions so well in the order of the track list. I can't think of any other order that makes sense in my experience. And so far, you guys have put out, Skogen Mumler and then Burden, respecting the order of the track list. So I'm guessing you guys don't want to disrupt the experience of the album in singles also. I have some opinions on why Helga is making waves with the single Skogen Mumler. What can you tell me about this song, and why is the first song on the album?
Helga, do you want to answer this, or do you have anything for me to go?
You can do it, Kai.
Okay, so Skogen Mumlar
She's quiet.
was I guess I'm so good at talking rubbish.
Yeah, yeah.
She's happy for me to just go. Skogen Mumlar was the second track that Helga wrote for this project that became Wrapped in Mist, and I felt that I think from the beginning, it felt to me like a statement, a bit of a mission statement for what this band wanted to be. And when I thought, we thought long and hard about the track list for this record. No matter what combination I put those tracks in, I always found myself coming back to Skogen as the opener, and I just think it has. I feel like out of all the songs, it has the most sort of kind of mysterious quality to the introduction of it, and I think it kind of grows to really sort of punch you in the face a bit, which is everything that we hope to sort of capture with this band, I guess. So it was for that reason, as I said, it really felt like from the beginning, it was a bit of a mission statement song, and I think exactly the way we wanted to introduce people to this next phase of the band.
Helga agrees with it. Okay. Um,
Yeah, I agree.
yeah, I mean, I agree that Skogen Mumlar it's the bigger impact on the album, and if someone were to find the album without knowing anything about Helga and just listen to this first song, it's just immediately kind of like discovering all the amplifying things about this band, like the singular aspects of it, the voice of Helga, the kind of music and momentum, and the way it develops is just again very singular, very peculiar. And as a prog enthusiast myself, I don't usually find this kind of sounds. Nowadays it's just all between trends, between styles, and what is kind of in fashion, if that's the correct term.
Yeah.
But with
Yeah.
this band, there's not any, just that just don't that is it's just not that. And but the experience of the album, once this album finished, kind of it kind of goes back to a starting point and starts developing, step by step, climbing, I will say. So, and in our review, we did a review commentary in Spanish about this album. We were kind of mentioning how this album offers like three perspectives of Helga as of now. The most impactful sound in the first song. Then you have like the quieter songs, like from two to the end of the fourth song. But then the fifth song, I don't know how to pronounce it. Sorry, Farval.
Yeah.
It kind of is like a climatic song climax, and this is a song with the black metal parts. So, Helga, please, if you could answer, how did you structure or why is structured as such?
It wasn't really structured really in the beginning. There was
Okay.
no structure at all. I just played stuff on the guitar and just sort of experiment with my vocals as well. That was like sort of the beginning. But then I sent it to the guys and sent it to our producer Luis Felipe Neto. He's from Brazil, and that's when that's what you hear now basically, because they sort of
Okay.
arranged it, sort of thing.
He makes sense out of it.
Yeah, exactly. I even said in the beginning, I even said I hate structures, but but they sort of made some sort of structure anyway, and I really like it. I mean, we all love how it is now. It totally makes sense now. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, you did.
I didn't. Okay.
Anything to add? Okay.
Yeah, so as Helga said, Farvel started life as a rather segmented, I guess, sort of like collection of ideas. There was no real thread between them at the beginning, so that was, I guess, the challenge. There was clearly, I was immediately really excited about this one because, all of us in this band, but Helga and I especially, are big black metal fans, and whether or not you can necessarily hear those black metal influences in Helga's music, they're always niggling away at the back there, no matter what we're writing. We are all, we're huge fans of the sort of atmosphere, the kind of cold atmosphere of black metal, and whether or not we're using explicit signifiers of the genre or not, that's always sort of in the palette of ideas that we're working from. And you can hear that, for example, in a song like Haunted from Helga's debut EP, Nebulous. You can hear those sort of black metal sensibilities from the beginning. So I was really excited to be getting back to that sort of thing when I heard this demo. And yeah, as Helga said, it's just a case of fine tuning them and finding a thread to connect them. But you know, that was certainly a fun and at times challenging experience. But I'm so happy with how that came out. It's definitely a highlight for me on this record, and a song I'm just really proud of.
And it's right in the middle, you know. It's like a breaking point for the album. Like with after that song, the album isn't just the same as before, and each song is just unique on its own. For example, there's this song Vast and Wild, which it has like this for a split second, like electronic tweaks there. Like,
Yeah.
okay, this is getting IDM, you know, but then it just ends, and I was like, okay, what happened there? But then the next song is like the with the more electronic parts in there. So again, I can't help but think these kind of things are delivered, you know. Is some intention there to mess with like, for example, pop music just use a lot of things which we don't think in terms of, oh, the man, this artist is experimenting, you know. But for music like prog, you know, rock, black metal, these kind of elements are like foreign to the sound, to the style. So the fact that you guys use them, it has to be some intention, right? It's just that part is not at all natural.
Are we talking about Vast and Wild now?
Yeah.
Do you want
And
to speak on Vast?
from Vast and Wild and some in Truma? Yeah.
Yeah, so Vast and Wild, I think, is the closest to maybe some kind of pop that we get to. Sorry, go ahead, Alfonso.
No, I was confused. It's from Alive Again and Vast and Wild. Yeah.
Never felt so weak, but I looked up and I'm back on my
Oh, sure. Okay, great. So, yeah, Alive Again is very intentionally placed after Faraval.
Okay.
Alive Again is one of the songs I'm proudest of. Like, again, I love a lot of this. Yeah, we wouldn't be putting this record out if I wasn't like a big fan of it. But Alive Again is a highlight on this record for me, and I found it to be a sort of perfect palate cleanser, if you will, following the barrage that is Faraval. I really wanted to sort of take the listener on a journey, and I wanted perhaps to take them by surprise with Faraval, and perhaps cushion them from that great fall, you know, that afterwards with something like Alive Again. Alive Again is just as you know, representative of our influences as Faraval. They're just coming from different places. You know, we love black metal, but we also love trip hop, and you know, there's elements of Massive Attack in there, and that was very intentional. Yeah, so that was always the plan. Just wanted to sort of take the listener on a journey with that, and really kind of comfort people after the barrage that is Faraval.
Well, consider that part accomplished. The journey thing, I it's there. I don't know if you guys have received feedback, a lot of feedback at this point, but the album is just a whole journey. I'm disarmed by the second half of it. You know, just enjoying. Usually, you know, I'm like crossed arms listening, but at that point, I'm just, you know, embracing all. You know, receiving all the things that bands has to offer. Also want to talk about the last song, because it's like usually an album kind of fades away in the energy by the end, you know, like to feel like as a closer. But this song, the last song, is the album title, but also kind of the other song that matches the energy of the beginning, at least for me.
Sure.
So why did you choose this song as an ending? Is the most important song on the album because of the title?
Yeah, I think Helga, would you like to speak on this at all? I don't want to be speaking too much here.
No, you're fine.
Okay, okay, I've got her consent, Alfonso. I've got her consent.
Yeah.
So with Wrapped in Mist, yeah, I completely agree. There was a sort of bookend quality to it, I think. I agree. It captures a lot of the same energy at points as Skorgan Mular. And so I found it to be an appropriate sort of bookend to close the album out with. While at the same time, it just felt, I think, it almost felt just like the natural conclusion to the body of work that we put together here. It's a little more aggressively progressive, perhaps, than Skorgan Mumlar, while that is still, it still is quite linear in its presentation. But again, I like the kind of I thought that the high energy of the more explosive moments on the song were complemented by the softer kind of crescendo, if you will, of the song, and I found that to be a perfect sort of ending to the journey that we tried to create here with this album, and in a way, I felt that it was similar to Skorgan in that it is also very a perfect kind of snapshot, if you will, of the kind of headspace and creative mindset we were in when we were putting this record together. I feel like that song is a bit of a journey in and of itself, and in a way represents the journey of the album as a greater whole. So I think that's exactly why I found it appropriate to put it at the end there, and also why we were inspired then to use that as the title track.
Anyone out there listening, if you want to hear Helga's voice, you need to go and look for the songs. He has an angelic voice, and she's saving them for the band, But in all seriousness, I want to ask you about your screaming vocals in a few songs, a few parts. Usually a prog metal band or black metal screams because it's how it's supposed to be, it screams. But I don't necessarily hear the screams in these songs like that, just pure form, more like a necessity to scream in those parts. So yeah, why did you decide to change your voice for those parts?
I think it's because I wanted to try some. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I wanted to try something new, and I never really properly screamed before. So this was my probably first ever song with screaming vocals. So I thought I would try this, even if probably it doesn't sound like the best ever scream ever, but never mind.
However, you're too hard on yourself. Your screams are blood curdling. They are amazing. Don't put yourself down.
Yes.
Well, luckily there's reverb, so that effect helped a bit.
Okay.
So anyway, yeah, that was it. And also I think the fact that, so apart from wanting to try something new, I think I just felt like it was the right thing to do for this particular song, because when you scream, you probably don't understand a lot of what I'm screaming.
Right.
And I thought I didn't really want anyone to understand this one anyway. I mean, sure,
Okay.
they can read the lyrics, but I mean, what if they don't have the lyrics, you know, like do
Mm.
they understand this? I don't think so. So that's probably it because it's a personal song for me, Farvel. That's probably the biggest reason why I wanted to scream here.
Okay, about the lyrics. Some of things are in Swedish, and also English. And the album title of one of a bunch of these songs kind of reveals the topic, but there are others that kind of are cryptic in the message. Um, why did you decide to use Swedish lyrics, mix them, and that kind of thing?
Um, I don't know, it just felt natural, I guess, you
Okay,
know, to just write. I mean, I don't necessarily feel like, oh, it feels, I don't know, I don't necessarily feel that it's natural to just write in English, you know, even if
right.
I've heard so many music in my life that, you know, is in English, you know, but I felt like it was the right thing to do, I suppose, but also because I'm just fascinated by languages in general. And I think that Swedish is a beautiful language. And I thought maybe when people hear our songs and people hear this song in Swedish, they'd be like, what language is this? It sounds beautiful. I want to learn this language, you know, and that makes me happy because I love learning languages as well. So yeah.
Okay. Now that this album has like, well, a, a gigantic scope in terms of ideas, in terms of modulations, and all of that. Do you guys see the band in the next album, in the next material, expanding on that, or kind of reducing the scope? Helga.
Well, Helga, you've been working on some new ideas recently, haven't you? Maybe you'd be best to speak on this.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't really want to talk about it because I don't really have like a clear sort of vision just yet. But yeah, I think, you know, just I think as a musician, I think, I don't know if you feel this way, Kai, but I just feel like, you know, when you're doing this, I feel like you want to grow as a musician and you feel the same way when you're writing music, right? You feel like you want to evolve and you want to become better than what you were yesterday, for example. Like maybe I wasn't screaming in the past few EPs, but now I want to scream, you know, stuff like this. You know, trying something new, I think, and being curious all the time, I think, is a really important thing for me personally, and maybe for you, Kai, as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Always just trying to, as you say, Helga, always just trying to stay curious as an artist and always just trying new things. And I think, yeah, we haven't really had much time to think about the next record, but whatever that ends up being, uh, I think we can't help but we're never going to pigeon ourselves into a specific kind of style or sound. So it's safe to say that the next record, whatever it'll be, will also be an adventure of its own kind, and will probably cover a similar amount of ground.
Well, speaking about growing as an artist, how will you say do you guys challenge your instincts, like to step out of the comfort zone? Because what it happens, and this is what most artists have told me, the muscle grow like uh, used to certain things, certain
Mm.
movements, certain to when riffing and playing guitar. So they have different techniques, but the main part is to challenge, what comes naturally in order to come out with something new, like new vocabulary in the music. How would you say, as of now, is that manifesting for you guys?
Yeah, I think even within the process of writing this album, there was a conscious effort to challenge those instincts, and move into sounds and areas we weren't hugely familiar with prior to working on this, and I think that's what makes writing music for us so exciting. Really, kind of delving into the unknown a little bit, and I think we'll always end up naturally doing that, and. But I think a little bit of muscle memory helps too, because I mean, without that, perhaps one of the things I'm happy about this record is that it's a departure in many ways from what's come before it, but there's still a thread through it that I think is very reminiscent of Helga's previous work when she was working as a solo artist, and so some of those muscle memory things I think will always be inherent in the sound. I think Helga, she's the primary songwriter of this group, and as long as she's at the wheel, they'll always feel true to her vision. And I think she has a pretty firm kind of identity musically. And it's just how we then apply that to different sort of sounds and styles, I think produces the kind of hopefully unique content that much of this album is comprised of.
And well, for people that will found Helga in the next weeks or months, what would you say Helga has to offer?
I think I'll try and answer that. I think this record is a fairly unique amalgamation of a lot of these genres you mentioned, and if there's anything I could if there's anything I think that really sets us apart from other bands or projects, it has to be Helga's voice. That she has an ethereal, beautiful quality to it that I challenge anyone to point to anything like it, honestly. And it's absolutely and it's exactly that voice that drew me to this project in the beginning, and it's here on full display on this record. So I'd say that's the selling point in this record to me. The rest of us are backing dancers, really.
Well, yeah, Helga's voice is unique, but if it wasn't for the music in the album, it kind of falls apart. So the music in itself is a great companionship to Helga's voice. It sure is something special, and I hope that this band project grows to maybe come to Mexico in the future and play some shows here. I will be waiting and hoping for that chance to happen. I don't know if you guys have shows planning as of now in your future.
There's plans in the works, but nothing to announce just yet. But definitely plans in the works.
Okay, perfect. Before we end up, I want to pick your brains and your taste in music to maybe recommend or suggest us artists from recent months, weeks, your recent discoveries that you will, recommend.
Sure. Well, I'll go ahead. The band Sprain. If you know Sprain, they released an album called The Llama's Effigy recently. I love that record.
Yeah.
I love that. Well, at the same time, I've been hugely into Caroline Polachek recently. I love her album Desire, I Want to Turn Into You. I'm just looking at some of the records I've been listening to recently. There's a record by a group called Headache, called The Head Hurts But the Heart Knows the Truth. I've been listening to that a lot recently. A bit of departure from what we do, but hey, where's the fun? Where's the fun in just recommending, all metal stuff?
Yeah.
So that's what I've got.
And you, Helga, anything you want to suggest?
Do they have to be alive?
Hey guys, I've got to go now. Sorry, really sorry, Helga. Are you having to wrap this up? I need to leave. Okay, Alfonso, thank you. Thanks so much, Alfonso.
See you another
really
time.
Appreciate the offer. I hope to see you in Mexico, dude. All right, see you later.
Bye. Have a good day or night.
You too. Bye.
Alfonso, do they have to be alive, the musicians?
No.
Yeah, I haven't really been good at listening to music in general, because I've mostly been reading books But
Okay.
if I were, well, recently I listened to quite a lot of classical music. So it's
Mm,
just Western classical music, just a lot of like choral music,
okay.
Russian choral music. So I can't really tell you like the names or anything because there's no particular composer. But you know, if there's any composer in the classical realm, that would probably be Chopin and Eric Satie, and some Russians as well, like Rachmaninoff and Scriabin. I think that's it really. Nothing, not a lot of bands. Band wise, when it comes to metal, that would probably just be Opeth. I always go back to Opeth anyway. Um, Nothing much really.
I,
Sorry.
I, I guess the opera influence, as someone from Sweden, is kind of big, present. Uh,
Yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely.
are you familiar with the work of Lingua Ignota?
Uh, no.
She's from United States, an artist with, again, like as you, church background in music,
Oh, wow.
and
Oh,
her name is Christine Hayter, but uh,
right.
the artist name is Lingua Ignota. I hope you can listen to her music because it's beautiful.
Oh.
It's just unique as your own creations.
Right.
One last question: if you could relate or assimilate the the sentiment of these songs to another piece of work or anything beyond music, like a book, painting, a movie, which one would it be and why?
I think if I just have to pick something very quickly, that would probably be The Lord of the Rings by
Oh,
J.R.R. Tolkien. I'm a big fan of his work, and especially The Lord of the Rings. I've read it, all of it. I've also seen the film, so I would probably say both the books uh, and the films really inspired me. So when you look at the artwork, maybe of Ratchimus, you can. Well, some of my friends had seen this, and then they were like, "Oh, this gives me a lot, Lord of the Rings vibes." And I said, "Oh, I'm glad because I'm a big fan of Tolkien." Yeah,
yeah, there's a fantasy element to the album cover
yeah,
and to the ideas. When you listen
yeah,
to this music,
yeah.
I wasn't sure of mentioning this by my friend with my friend from the review. We two are in love with your music, and we appreciate your efforts and your creativity and the fact that you are making something unique, with an artistic effort. And just, yeah, I don't have words. I hope that the future is bright for Helga, and we are looking forward to the next stage at this point. Yeah, best of lucks.
Thank you so much, Alfonso. That's so kind. And say hello to your friend as well.
Of course, if you have anything left to say to the audience, please.
I don't know. I suppose. Thank you so much. Is it all just Mexican listeners?
I'm sure not.
Yeah.
It's in
Oh,
English.
oh, right. Okay. Well, I hope you listen. I hope you. Sorry, I'm so awkward. But thank you so much for having us, and I really hope that you enjoy our upcoming album that will be released soon on 24th of November. Um,
24. Okay, I was
yeah.
wrong. I was thinking it was the 17th of November.
17th, yeah, I saw in the review that review. I
Uh,
said, why does he keep saying 17th? It's
Sorry for that.
24th.
Sorry for that.
It's
Now
all right. It's all
I stand corrected. Do you have a favorite song on this album that I should pay
right.
attention?
I have a lot of favorites, unfortunately. But do you want me to pick like one only?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, Farvel, maybe Farvel, number
Okay.
5.
Okay.
Yeah,
The heavier song on the album.
yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
Thank you, and hope to talk to you soon for the next
Yeah,
album. Have a great
yes,
night. Thank you for your
you
time.
too. Thank you. Bye.